Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a genuinely cosmic narrative, a deep dive into the absolute ultimate expression of selflessness, courage, and infinite wisdom. We're exploring the ancient texts of the Mahaprajna Paramita Sastra to really unpack the path of the Bodhisattva. Now, I know that concept might sound a bit abstract at first, but as we're going to see, this path is packed with dramatic physical sacrifices, deep ocean quests, and some truly mind-bending illusions. Okay, let's dive into this and start with a massive, mind-boggling question. What kind of human act actually makes the heavens literally shake and rejoice? According to these ancient texts, it's definitely not about building a massive empire or hoarding unimaginable wealth. No, it happens when a bodhisattva, a being completely dedicated to achieving supreme enlightenment for the sake of all others, walks the path of profound wisdom. When a bodhisattva cultivates this kind of ultimate, radical compassion, the celestial realms completely lose their minds. Section 1. Why the heavens rejoice. So the crucial point is celestial beings already exist in realms of immense, unimaginable pleasure. But when they witness a bodhisattva down here cultivating true, liberating wisdom, they are so deeply moved that they immediately vow to aid their journey. The text even says they vow to become the bodhisattva's family members in future lives just to help him out. But here's the thing, the gods aren't just passively sitting back and watching. They actively test this resolve. The text tells this fascinating story of a moment when the ruler of the heavens, Indra, was facing the very end of his life. He was terrified, desperately looking for a savior. Another celestial being pointed him toward a human king down on earth who was performing these incredible acts of discipline and made a really dramatic observation. This person will soon become a Buddha. But Indra? He was skeptical. He needed hard proof. Section 2, sacrificing flesh for a dove. And this brings us to the incredibly visceral story of King Shibi. This is a gripping, intense test of physical sacrifice to accumulate vast cosmic merit. Let's walk through exactly how this played out. Step 1. Indra transforms himself into a hungry eagle, and his celestial companion transforms into a terrified, fleeing dove. Step 2. The dove swoops right down and seeks absolute refuge with King Shibi. Now, the king is completely trapped. If he protects the dove, the eagle starves to death. But if he feeds the eagle, the dove dies. So step 3. To save the dove without harming the eagle, the king literally begins cutting off his own flesh to offer the eagle an equivalent weight. But because it's a divine test, the magic makes the dove incredibly, impossibly heavy. Finally, step 4. Having sliced away his flesh, the king hauls his entire bleeding body onto the scale to match the dove's weight. At this moment of absolute, unwavering sacrifice, the earth violently shakes, the gods reveal their true forms, and they shower him with heavenly flowers. His resolve was totally unshakable. Section 3. Seeking jewels in the deep. Let's move to and see how this builds. We transition from the gritty sacrifice of flesh into a classic epic hero's quest. A bodhisattva prince looks around, sees the devastating poverty of the human realm, and decides to physically venture into the dangerous, unknown depths of the ocean to seek out the Dragon Kings. Month by month, the prince dives deeper. In the first month, he stays with the Dragon King, preaching these profound teachings of the Dharma. In return, the Dragon King gifts him a magical jewel capable of literally raining down food over a massive area. In the second month, he visits another Dragon King, shares teachings of miraculous powers, and receives a jewel that rains clothing. In the third month, with a third Dragon King, his teachings on ultimate wisdom earn him a jewel that rains down the 7 precious treasures. Three miraculous wish-fulfilling jewels. The prince promised to return them at the end of his life, but while he lived, he hauled these 3 jewels all the way back to the human world. They continuously rain down food, clothing, and wealth, single-handedly eradicating poverty. This brilliantly illustrates something absolutely crucial. A bodhisattva's compassion isn't just some lofty spiritual concept. It's highly active, it's practical, and it aims directly at relieving the immediate physical suffering of humanity. Section 4. Manifesting to save beings. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is unpacking how a pure bodhisattva actually operates in our messy, chaotic, desire-filled human world. I mean, do they just hide away in a secluded mountain cave? Absolutely not. They actually manifest right in the thick of human society, incarnating among everyday people just to save them. The text uses this deeply profound metaphor, calling the bodhisattva an illusionist. Think of a master stage magician who creates a breathtaking illusion of a lavish feast or a stunning palace. The
The magician knows perfectly well it's entirely fake, so they aren't emotionally attached to it. But the audience? The audience is totally captivated. A bodhisattva navigates worldly pleasures, the 5 human desires of wealth, sex, fame, food, and sleep, exactly like an illusionist. They use these desires purely as a skillful means to connect with everyday people and guide them toward liberation, all without ever being personally tainted by the desires themselves.
But the text also drops a very stark warning. While the bodhisattva can treat desires like a harmless magic trick, for us, ordinary people, they are incredibly lethal. The texts describe these desires as burning, literally fueled by the constant raging fires of greed, anger, and impermanence. They are filthy, totally despised by anyone who has actually tasted true spiritual freedom. They are highly destructive, capable of bringing down great kings and entirely ruining empires that lose themselves in indulgence. And they are enemy-like, acting exactly like hidden assassins that silently rob you of your spiritual wisdom and life. The bodhisattva willingly wades right into this intense firestorm just to save others, completely fireproofing themselves.
Section 5. The sun outshines fireflies.
So we've seen the sacrifices, the ocean quests, and the skillful incarnations used to accumulate all this merit. But how does this bodhisattva path actually stack up against other forms of spiritual practice? And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. On the left side, we have the firefly. This represents practitioners seeking only their own personal liberation, like arhats and prateka Buddhas. Look, their wisdom is totally real, it definitely glows in the dark, but it only frees themselves. A tiny firefly cannot light up an entire dark continent. On the right side, we have the sun. This is the bodhisattva. The sun doesn't just sit there illuminating itself. Its very nature is universal salvation. It blasts away darkness across the entire globe, brings life to plants, and warms every single living being equally without any prejudice whatsoever.
Because of that vast, unbelievable difference in intention, the text delivers this totally staggering fact. Just one single day of a bodhisattva actively cultivating wisdom completely surpasses the combined wisdom of all the arhats and independently enlightened beings filling the entire universe. Think about that for a second. Even if you literally packed the whole universe full of fireflies, they still wouldn't match the sheer power of a single sunrise. True ultimate wisdom, according to this text, has to be rooted in the absolute desire to save absolutely everyone. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to chew on. We might not be cutting off our own flesh to save a dove today or deep-sea diving to meet dragon kings, but the very core of the bodhisattva path is universal, active compassion. So how can you apply even a tiny fraction of this selfless sunlight in your own daily life? How can you make that shift from just lighting up your own personal path to actually warming the whole world around you? Keep that in mind as you go about your day, and I'll see you next time.